Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
Con, we're going to talk today about probably one of my favourite topics of all time, which is about the business of getting better. And, you know, there's an old school saying that, like, if you look back on what you were doing last year and you don't go, geez, I was such a fool, then you weren't even having a crack about how much growth you've had. And I think a lot about that, you know, inside of life and inside of business, you will hit peaks and you'll also hit plateaus.
Yeah.
And you know what I love about a peak is you're climbing towards something. You know, like I like you hook on to a dream, to an ideal, to something, and you go, you know, I really want that in my life, and I'm going to go all out there to go and get that. And whether or not that's fitness or saving some money, or, you know, being able to buy your first house, or being able to, you know, to date the perfect partner, or whatever it is that you do, you choose something that is a really burning desire. I think Napoleon Hill wrote about that in Think and Grow Rich. And once you take that burning desire, you go out there and climbing towards the peak, it forces, you know, there will be adversity, there will be challenge, but that's the thing that grows you. Challenge actually grows you.
Yeah. And
then in addition to that, like, then there are appropriate moments in your life where you're going to hit what we go to call a plateau, and sometimes that is absolutely by choice. So Tim Ferriss wrote about that in the 4-Hour Workweek, about taking mini retirements every decade, you know, where you take 3 or 4 months off to really get perspective about what you want before you go and chase again, and that's not a bad thing. The worst thing, I think, for a lot of people, though, is that when they hit a plateau, but they don't, and they're not there intentionally, and then they don't know how to get off the plateau.
Yeah.
And so the interesting conversation is, you know, how do you have that conversation around rediscovering a true north of something you want to go and chase, you know, getting motivated and inspired by something. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't really know what motivates me. Well, it's up to you to do that. And the easiest way is have a look on the photos on your phone.
Yeah.
And whatever you tend to take a lot of photos of is probably what motivates you. That's probably what you love doing. You know, so like if you look at my phone, you'll see lots of photos of some cool motorbikes, and you'll probably see photos of books and saunas.
Yeah.
You know? But that's the stuff I like to go and do. So that's a really important part to get that right. Have you, can you, if you think about that, and there's a really interesting exercise that I was reading online called the baseline. And if they say, if you want to get to know someone, right, what you do is you say, okay, Colin, we're going to spend a little activity. So let's just draw a line right now. And I want you to identify for me 2 really low points in your life. And I want you to identify for me 2 really high points in your life. And I'm going to do the same for you.
Yeah.
So some low points for me have been X and Y, and my high points have been A and B. Tell me a little bit about yours.
Yeah.
And what actually happens is that, like, we hook on with deep emotional connection in under a couple of minutes by doing that exercise, because I understand empathetically challenges now that you have actually been through.
Yes.
But also, too, how did you do that when you talk about what was the high points?
This is a great topic. This is because there's not one person on planet Earth that doesn't go or experience this.
Yeah.
Professionally, personally, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I had someone say to me the other day, you know, how does it feel to be, you know, at the top of your game in your organisation in real estate? I said, mate, when I get there, I'll tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
A, B, I love it when people go, you know, when did you know it was the peak of the market? We always find out 3, 4, 5 months after the peak.
Sure.
Right, when it's slow down. What I'm getting to is that the peak is not the pinnacle. The journey and the experience and the feeling and the emotion and the energy and the momentum is what's helped us climb that peak. But you can't scale and you can't get to the top of you know, the tallest peak unless you've actually done the training or the work. What's that work? It's usually the plateau. It's the stuff that when you're down and out, professionally, personally, financially, listings, volume, or whatever it might be, that's the stuff that gives you that mental resilience, or it gives you the playbook of, hey man, I know how to get out of this hole, right? And so what I love about a peak and a plateau is that we need to forecast for both. I don't forecast for peaks. I forecast for plateaus. I'm looking for the potholes. And I'm trying not to drive over those potholes every single day. So the potholes are, my behaviours, my action, my energy, my thoughts.
Poor thinking.
That's exactly right. Or not thinking, just doing.
Which is poor thinking.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing is too is that, I see agents and I'll lose 4 or 5 listings and I'll be like, well, mate, did you think you were going to win 100% of them? Did you not forecast that if I pitch on 6, I might lose 2? So I'm actually, how many of you lost 2? How many of you won 3? You're on track.
So, Con, I've asked myself 5 questions as a part of a little thing I'm doing at the moment over the last 60 days. I'm going to ask you these questions.
Yes.
And I want you to give me a 1-word answer.
Wow, okay, I'm nervous now.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So how much do you love Emily? No, I'm not going to go there. We already know the answer to that.
To infinity and beyond.
And beyond. Yeah, okay, great. So let's go. How do you want to be today in your relationships?
Better.
How do you want to be today in challenging moments?
Calmer.
How do you want to be today in quiet moments?
Reflective.
How do you want to be today in successful moments?
Appreciative.
How do you want to be today in difficult moments?
Perspective.
Okay, so I've done this for 60 days.
Wow.
And so every day I've got to answer this, right? Yeah, and as a part of it. And these are the things that keep on coming up. So how do I want to be today in relationships? Usually I'm energetic or supportive or future focused, right? Okay, great. How do I want to be in challenging moments? You know the word that kept on coming up over 60 days? Creative.
Right.
I love to work my way out of a box.
Yeah.
Like problem solving is something that really energizes and excites me. How do I want to be in quiet moments? It was always reflective. It was the one that kept on coming up all the time as like the normal answer. In successful moments, it was the word humble.
Yeah.
So I just want to be humble in those successful moments. And in difficult moments, the word that kept on coming up again, creative.
Creative, yeah, there you go.
And so when I start to think about peaks and plateaus, maybe you have hit the plateau because you're not asking yourself different questions that can change your thinking, that can change the way that you might perceive or change perspective, which then might change motivation again.
I think people, though, also go through plateaus because they either think that they've made it, and I don't think you can ever make it.
Of course,
right?
Yeah. It's the very dangerous hubris, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Or they start having that conversation in their brain around imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You know what? This isn't going to last. Mark Boris just did a really good podcast on it.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, it's all going to fall apart. I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
My family never had, the wealth or the experience or whatever I've created. And I just think one of those things is that we need to look or take the opportunity. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. The things that helped us get to where we might are or want to be, or the things that have hindered us, are usually all the lessons that kind of compound to get us to that next level. Because every level of growth requires a new version of ourselves.
And that I link that to like really specific skill improvement.
Absolutely.
So I'm not good at this.
I'm not good at AI. You know why? Because I've been keeping my head in the sand and I'm like, nah, just keep focusing on, making calls and blah, blah, blah. And you and I had a conversation before this and showed me some stuff which is mind-blowing. So one of the things that now I'm going to go and do is how do I become better at understanding AI and then its practical application into what we do?
So let me ask you a question. Do you learn more from winning or losing?
Losing.
Right?
1,000%. Winning's easy, dude.
Sure.
You can win at anything. But where's the lesson? So when you win, I played basketball at a representative level when I was a kid, right? And
what year was this?
No comment.
I was trying to get under sixes or
No. I was under 10.
Right.
Come on, mate.
Gotcha.
And we kept winning and winning and winning. And then when we lost, we didn't know how to handle losing.
Yes.
And so all the 20 winning game streak came to an absolute crashing end when we lost one game.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know how to lose.
Yeah.
How do we lose when we lose a listing?
Yeah.
It's so funny. There's a guy, this is years ago when I was director of sales, right?
Yeah.
And we had an agent that lost a listing. And it was so funny. The other agent, so this was a past client of our agent, the other agent just said, hey, before you give it to Josh, right? Because the owner had said, I'm going to give it to Josh. He sold it to us last time, I'm going to give it to Josh. Just tell him that you're going to give it to another agent. And just see how he actually responds and see how quickly he turns. And if he can turn on you so quickly about a listing, imagine what he'll do around your price. and the owner did it, and this guy lost his cool and just said, "I can't believe it. I've been blah blah blah."
Who is that guy? Amateur? Yeah.
And bang.
Wow.
So I always look at it and I go, there's a lesson in every opportunity if we want to take it. It's just up to us if our frequency and our energy is dialed in to want to take that feedback.
So, Con, I've really been lucky in that I was kind of taught, somewhere very early in life that, go out and find people that have already done what you want to do and, ask them some great questions and then find people that are the best in the world at that particular thing in your world and get close to them and try to work out how they can help you. And so we've got that wheel of life, right? And we do that quite a bit in the blueprint thing. And we go, okay, how are you with health and family and financials and professional and personal and material things and fun and adventure and spiritual life and all that stuff. And one of the things that I hooked onto very early is that, in each of those areas, you can have a mentor.
Oh, yeah.
So in my physical health, I've got a great mentor in my PT, Maren Preston, who's really good at helping me to maintain, strength and build and do those things. And when I think about relationships, I've got a really lovely lady called Chris Jones who helps me about that. And when I think about business improvement, I'm really lucky. I've got Kylie in my business that I go to and we have great conversations about that. So what you're starting to think of is that in each of these different areas, get a mentor. And you don't have to necessarily pay for that mentor. And sometimes it can be a virtual mentor in your brain. And, Colin, I'm now adding AI in as one of my potential mentors in collaboration about ideas and concepts and pushing and what it thinks on some things so that now I've got someone else to have a different perspective apart from just the normal people that are in my world.
It's amazing, how many people you can reach. You reached out to that author, remember?
Yeah.
And it's like,
cut to chase, Stuart Levine.
That's right. No one's ever called me and you went and had dinner with him, right?
Yeah.
I've done that all across the world where I've connected with people on social, Instagram or email or whatever. I think the power of mentors is that they're paving the path of all the mistakes that they've made so you can avoid the potholes.
My favourite was when you told me that you left your wallet in the car. That was such a classic move. Kidding, mate. Kidding. Trying to keep you lighthearted. Practice makes perfect. We know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, I reckon assessment's the ultimate teacher. Like, can you actually do it in front of me? And you know what? Put yourself in the really uncomfortable positions and try, but get the feedback. And I think that really good mentors will help you with that.
Yep.
And to me, that's there's that old school saying about the wolf that you feed. That it's either the one that can do wolf or the can't do wolf, and driving insecurities and doubt and fear. And I guess that my concern is that we live in a world where there's so much comparison to what you're seeing on social media that it drives a lot of insecurities. My life's not great, my partner's not great, my kids aren't great, I don't have that car, I'm not this, I don't have that, that person's making $10 million and I'm only making 100,000 or 20,000 or whatever it is. And I feel, all of that. And I'm just like, guys, like, honestly, if you knew that this was your last week here on earth, how much would you relish in the great opportunities that you've already got right now in front of you?
Yeah.
And it's like, and for me, it's like, man, I got the chance to go for a ride through the Alpine National Park, and
cool.
It was so good on the motorcycle. No one else was around, and it was beautiful fresh air in the morning, and it was just like a really good opportunity to spend some time with myself. And I think that's like, falling back in love with the life that you've got is one of the great milestones for success.
1,000%. Couldn't agree more, mate. The gratitude of being able to do what we do. But also, I just think, with this whole, and I've got two kids. I've got an almost 21-year-old daughter and an almost 17-year-old son. And, that whole comparison, just stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. Have the virtues and the values and the goals that you want to aspire to be or to become. Stay in your lane and just do your thing. And then I think the greatness comes from that, the comfort and the security that you are good enough. You've got everything that you need to be successful. We live in the best country, in the best city. Sorry for everyone else that's not in Sydney. But you are. We are. And we're so blessed. So where's that gratitude about what we're doing? So whether you're winning or you're losing, you're learning and you're growing, and that's the most important thing. Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
Con, I read this and I stopped when I read this over the break. We're impatient with technology, yet we're forgiving with humans. I thought, how many times have I downloaded an app, opened up something, it doesn't work, and dismissed it?
Yes.
But how many times have I let another human being, try again. And have another go. And I just think that, like, literally that is such a true statement that made me just think, mate, I've got to develop a bit more patience or try a bit more with the usage of tech.
Yeah.
And maybe I've got to hold some humans to a bit more account that, no, you got to deliver faster.
Something that's changing your view.
Playing business as a game and the power of dashboards. And like, I saw some stuff that you guys have got on your dashboards, and it's like, it's really fascinating to watch, because you got some cool stuff going on, man, about like red light, orange lights, green lights, and what's happening in performance and leaderboards and ranking.
Yes.
Like, man, you've invested some time in building that. It's crazy.
We have. You know, the funny thing is that it took eight weeks and a bit of capital to be able to do it. But the one thing that's changing my view is that we want insights. And I think, you know, the next evolution of that is AI that's actually going to tell me, hey, by the way, Josh hasn't listed a property in the last 30 days, and the 2 properties that are on market, their days on market are 45 days and haven't had a price adjustment. So I just think that we're moving it. The people and the businesses that embrace technology are the ones that are going to be able to exponentially grow their businesses.